My name is Jason Price from the Nocturnal, and I'm super excited to be speaking with you guys. First off, I want to say congratulations on the show. You guys did a great job and really mastered that coach-player dynamic. You guys really did your thing. Um, I want to start off by asking you guys about the focus of mental toughness in this series,
Mm.
when it comes to playing the game, but not just playing it, but playing it good, winning. So, how has that helped with the development of your characters?
I think I think the idea of the mental toughness really is something that like yes we speak on it, and your mental toughness has to do with a lot of your self-awareness, knowledge of self and loving yourself. But at the same time, it's not something that is easily done alone. It's something that kind of has to be taught to you. And when it comes
Mm.
to Ike and Jace, I think a coach is supposed to be somebody who teaches, lessons and gives ideologies to help the younger generation go further than the one of the past. And life is about turning your losses into lessons. And Ike has a lot of losses that he doesn't want Jace to do as well. And so when I do those scenes, I don't look at it as an older brother talking to a younger brother. I don't look at it as a father talking to a son. I look at it as Ike is talking to Ike. Ike is looking in the mirror, telling his younger self what he wish somebody would have said to him, what he wishes he could have heard, and because he sees so much of himself in Jace. So the mental toughness has to be built and taught to you by the people that truly care for your well-being.
My next question is for you, Isaiah. I want to know, people usually talk about, or just, I guess, think of swagger. Sometimes they think about like the materialistic things or, the ego that sometimes come with having these things. But for Jace, it's a different situation. So, what is swagger to him, and why is it so important to have?
Swagger really to him is having a cause bigger than himself. You'll see in the first, early on, you know, he has a his cause is kind of himself, and it's kind of like Diesel to everyone that's with him, behind him. Everyone behind him is kind of like riding, but they can't breathe. And once he really opens up to his team and to the people he loves and really figures out why he's making these sacrifices every day, it kind of really changes his life. And that's something I really want young athletes to take with them.
I know this series is inspired by Kevin Durant's experiences and, things that he's gone through and probably things that he's seen as well. So have you guys had the opportunity to talk to him about some of these things, like for more insight on your guys' roles?
Yeah, we had a few opportunities. I mean, me and Kevin are both Libras, so like I know his mind is always working. But he's given me lots of mentorship, just just from watching his everyday experience. I mean, just coming back from that injury as strong as he did was just like all the motivation I needed. But then when he called us up and gave us, real tips on just how he walks into his strategy every day when he walks on the court, it really gave us a boost.
With KD, I asked him, or I would ask him things like what he learned from coaches over time. Even coaches with different philosophies. Like you got, a more laid back coach like a Steve Kerr, who he was, just dealing with, and just kind of to get into, another look into the coach player dynamic. I also asked Kevin Durant, what keeps him motivated. It was the same thing, the same question that I had asked Kobe Bryant. My first and sadly last time speaking with Kobe over the phone, it was something that I asked him of how do you stay motivated? How do you have all of this and still want that more? And, I asked Kevin the same thing, and he let me get some insight on that. I also asked Kevin if he was aware at the time that the Lakers had won the 2020 NBA championship. And, just to make sure that he watched. And, he stopped answering my text, so I don't ask Kevin nothing no more.
You just saw.
I want to start off by asking you guys, what drew you guys to your roles?
Crystal, just in general, everything about Crystal drew me to her. Her story, entire storyline, like beginning to end. Like she is strong. She struggles, but she's still strong, and she doesn't just cower. Like she stays in her power, and she doesn't give up. And I really relate to that as well. Like I try my best. Like I always do my best. I do the best I can, and Crystal is very much like that. Like she will not settle for anything less than the best she can do. Like she won't stop until she gets the best.
Yeah, and for me, I think what drew me to Musa was mostly his relatability. He's a little guy on a basketball team of giants, and I think, he kind of has to navigate those waters and find, where he belongs in that team and, make sure he can contribute and, become, a real facilitator and a good part of that, of the machine. And yeah. And also off the court, I really wanted to be Musa was because, the reason I wanted to be Musa was because I wanted to train. I wanted to train and I wanted to find my upper limits because I hadn't played basketball before, and I wanted to, prove to myself that I could transform myself for a role. I have idols like Michael B. Jordan, and I was thinking, Creed, and I wanted to really, transform myself into somebody who I wasn't.
And I think you guys both do a great job of doing that. I was just gonna ask you guys, were there any like new techniques that you guys had to learn, or just like perfecting the craft in a sense of basketball? Was that a struggle? What was it like?
I think it was more of a struggle for me than it was for him because he actually loves basketball. Like he's a basketball fanatic. Like he's kind of crazy about it. And I just have brothers that are all about sports, like football, basketball. So I know I'm not I know something. Like I just don't personally play basketball, and I'm not like crazy about basketball like he is. So being in Swagger, I had to learn a lot. Like Khalil did not let me not know anything. Like he informed me about a lot and he taught me a lot, but I also had to train really hard. Like every day, any chance I could, anytime the gym was open, me and my brother and the trainer were always in there, and we were just working nonstop all the time. And that was definitely a challenge for me because basketball was not my sport.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of stuff I had to learn. I I couldn't play basketball, and I trained. And shout out to Reggie Wallis. He was my trainer, and he taught me so much. Stuff like she said, I was a big basketball fan, so I knew that these things existed. Yeah. I just didn't know how to do them and
know how to make your body do it.
Right.
Your mind could do it, and you were like, I can do this, but then it happened.
And point guard is such a skill position.
Yes,
there's a lot of intricacies and stuff like that. So, learning the ins and outs of the game. It was fun. But it was definitely, grueling for sure.
My last thing, in one word to wrap up, how would you describe this series?
The word I would use to describe this series is perspective.
Oh, good one.
Because I think the show, it takes, takes a lot of different angles, and a lot of different routes to show you what it means to be a part of grassroots basketball. It shows from the players to the coaches to the parents to the shoe companies and the sponsors and stuff like that. It shows a lot of different perspectives, and it gives you great insight on what it's like to be, in the world of young grassroots basketball.
My one word would have to be powerful. Like, this show is very powerful. Everyone has their own power and their own story in their power, and it's just a lot of powerful people. Even the cast itself, outside of the roles, everyone is so powerful and has a lot of strength and passion for this show.
I want to start off by asking you, what was the transformation like, to get into the role of Jenna? Did you study anyone?
Not one specific person. When I first met the showrunner Reggie, he had like photos and photos of like different women from like an area in the DMV, like how Jenna dresses, like the makeup and stuff. And he had the natural hairstyles, and she wore makeup, which is different from me. I like fresh face. So I think one of the things, besides loving the script, right away I loved Jenna. And then when he introduced me to like she's stylish, the moment I put on some heels and had like this natural hairstyle, I felt like, oh, okay, this is Jenna. And I met some moms. I did some research of just watching how moms are at the games, and that helped me too. And Kevin Durant's mom being one of them, just seeing how her pride, how happy she is, and the love that they share after a game. Like, every game is serious, and it's like, well done, win or lose.
And you really see that, like, it comes off just so authentic, that's what I really wanted to know. Um, And she is a stand-up mom. Like, she is so amazing, despite her struggles and, her setbacks and just the pressure of being a baller mom, and a single mom as well. She still finds a way to keep going, not just for herself, but for her family too. So why do you think that is?
Um, she's not gonna be someone who's her circumstances. She's not gonna be she's gonna always rise above it. I feel like because she is a single mom and her kids have so much promise, that's motivation. And she has her own dreams too. Women in general, like they want it all, and like we can do it all. And I think this is a perfect storyline to show the sacrifices that she has to take as a mom to get her entire family out of the hood of where they are, or out of the situation. Like, don't just label me. I'm not saying this to you, but some women, like, just to say like single mom, people hear that and they think, oh, you're going to be in this category. This is what's going to happen. No one wants to have a label on them. And I feel like that's going to push her even more to get her son to the NBA.
What do you want upcoming ballers and their families to take away from this series?
Sacrifices, the hard work, and you can't trust everybody. Like, be very smart. You know, money will always come, but make sure you have the right people who are for you around you. Yeah, and I love how Reggie writes the relationship of the ballers on the team. And I think anytime you have a village, you're good. So I hope these
Yes.
kids see that you can go and talk to someone. You have someone on your side, because these teams are families.
What attracted you to the role of Alonzo?
Man, I think the story of this young black man trying to make his way through corporate America, but having to battle with the fight of who he is and where he's from. It's automatically attractive. Just being able to already see that fight on the forefront, but then everything else that happens underneath. Also, Kevin Durant being my boy, and Reggie Rock by the Wood being my mentor, and then Apple TV Plus being behind it, and Brian Grazer being behind it. It's really hard to say no to something this beautifully set up.
Do you think that Alonzo kind of sees something in Jace that kind of reflects a piece of his younger self?
Absolutely. Um,
Hmm.
I think I think everyone has that those basketball dreams, or the dreams of more. And once you see someone else, especially somebody from where you're from or somewhere that you are very familiar with, starting to take off, there's always that, dang, that kid could have been me, or I'm so proud of that kid, that you really want to kind of get behind them and galvanize all of their efforts. So yeah, I definitely think that in Alonzo's mind, he saw not just some of himself in Jace, but really what he wants the kids from where he's from to look like, or to look up to, or to be like. It shows that kids from the hood, or from any one of the hoods in America, can be great.
Swagger touches on so many important themes, and really, I think it's going to start so many conversations, which is great. Is there something that you're looking forward to, the audience seeing it or just reacting to this season?
Oh man, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I don't want to give away any plot, but I think there's a lot of stuff that happens mid-season that touches on just where America is at the time right now. So dealing with not only the spotlight being on you at such a young age and the pressures that come with that, but also the pressures of just being a young black man in America, the pressures of seeing what we constantly see on television every day, with just our black bodies. It's gonna be something amazing, but you're gonna have to wait mid-season for that.
Yes. And in one word, what would you describe, or how would you describe this season? One word.
Swagger. That's it.
Okay.
It's literally just that. You get a chance to really see what that word means.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of guys who fall and don't know how to get up, or fall and feel the weight of the world on their shoulders, so they don't move the same way or anything. But when you're able to walk into any room, whether you succeed or fail, with the same swagger, that's what you get a chance to really get deep dive into this season, the swagger.
You are the writer, director, EP, and showrunner for this series. How does it make you feel that your body of work is about to be released after such a long journey?
Well, it feels great. To be fair, I've directed 2 out of the 10, and there are some other, really great, directors that came in as well. And while I, did write the pilot and written, others, and I'm the showrunner, I also just want to say, like, I just had a really great writing team that really cared about our subject matter. And one of the more, satisfying things to do on the show is just to pull together just a great team of people that really believe in what it is we're trying to say, and to just, find a way to say it. And it is great to be at this point in time in my journey. When I first, started out, and you would do a show and you do something with Black narrative, you'd always hear that our shows don't travel overseas, that it was this domestic, and that Black narrative couldn't be global. So it's really amazing to be here right now, this place and time with Apple TV Plus, and to, like, not just be in the States, and not just only in, these sort of like certain households, but just like go global with our storytelling. It's really great, and it's not something that we ever really talked about years ago.
I definitely agree. I think it's needed, and I think, it really starts the conversation, not just America, but all over the world. And I think it'll be really exciting for people to see this and connect, in different countries. I think that's, the most beautiful thing, especially with art. My next question for you is, watching this series, you see a lot of brotherhood, just a lot of really great moments. So, as a director and writer, and just, with your whole team, what was your vision and how did you make it happen?
Um, I really just wanted to create a sense of family on screen. And the way that we did is we really created a sense of family off screen, And so I would say, like, first and foremost, that was really important. But really wanted it to feel authentic. I wanted the basketball to feel authentic. And so we took an approach where we had everybody do basketball training so that we would never fake our shots. Like, if somebody's making a shot, if somebody's dunking it, it's really happening. And to really just do the work, just do the homework to make sure that they're real life storytelling, the characters, like that was authentic, that we were really telling true stories on the court and off the court. And really wanting to just challenge our audience to ask themselves, how do we treat kids, not just in this country, but in the world? How do we treat our kids?
What was it like working with Kevin Durant to develop these stories more? How were you able to paint that picture?
Kevin Durant was great because we were able to meet and he was able to share a lot of his real life experiences with me. But there was also a freedom given for me to bring in other experiences. So, one of the things that I did want to do was to tell a story about youth basketball inspired by many of KD's stories, but bring in other elements as well. And I found great encouragement to do that. And so, that's ultimately what we did. And it's been a really great experience.
I love that. And my last question, how has this series inspired you? And what do you want people to take away from, the series and pass on to other people?
I think, there's so many themes in the show that are important: fatherhood, family. But really, the title of the show, really understanding that swag is not just about bravado, but really about a cause bigger than yourself.
Right.
Whether it's family, community, our people, just having that cause bigger than yourself, having that to be able that intestinal fortitude that we as a people have, like digging into that, that's swagger.